This program is brought to you by Emory University.
Officially, you start finding writings about Kabbalah and Jewish mysticism in 11th, 12th century Spain. A really fertile time in Spain, right? Because Christians, Jews, and Muslims are talking to each other. We should go back. I mean, what a fantastic thought, right? And so it was a really rich, fertile time in Spain. And some of the first texts, some of the richest texts of Jewish Kabbalah are coming out of that period. There are also earlier texts that are a little more obscure, although the ones from Spain are obscure enough. Then in the Renaissance, right, it's Ficino again at the Medici court who's translating Plato into Latin from the Greek for the first time. He's also a Kabbalist. So he's studying this stuff along with colleagues, notably Pico della Mirandola, and they are Hellenizing and Christianizing Kabbalah. There's one book that's called The Rape of Jewish Mysticism, about the Renaissance co-opting of Jewish Kabbalah, because they start, the tree is like a filing system. Does everybody have the tree in front of them? Who doesn't have the tree? It goes like this. The idea is that in Jewish mystical thought, the tree doesn't start here. The tree starts here. And these are veils of nothingness. It's quite Taoist. So there's nothing. There's limitless nothing. There's light, but it's not really light yet. And there's limitless light. So there's three veils of nothing that is the ground of being, which is pretty Taoist. And eventually it forms a point, and there's one. Then it's the lightning flash of manifestation. In other words, in other words, all of this stuff doesn't exist in the physical world as we know it. That doesn't happen till here. Not till 10. So in other words, the number symbolism is all about that which is behind what you see. And it comes as a lightning flash, is the metaphor. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see how it traces a lightning bolt. And you'll notice there's no Sephira here. So this is called the abyss, because there's something missing. The first three numbers are on their own. 3, an expression of 3. So this 10-pointed figure is actually 3 and 7. There's also 3 in the sense that there are 3 columns, and these are called the 3 pillars. So this is the pillar of mercy. This is the pillar of equilibrium down the middle. And this is the pillar of severity. They also have names in Hebrew, which are the crown, for obvious reasons, wisdom, understanding, mercy, severity, beauty, glory, victory, splendor, foundation, and the kingdom. The kingdom is us. So there's the notion that the kingdom is married to the source. So this is that. It's also 3s in this sense. So you have the 3 that's above the abyss. Then you have the 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you have the 3, 7, 8, 9, because we're down here. We're like an extra appendage. Which is that other interesting thing about 9 and 10. So it's 3 and 7, but it's also 9 and 10. That whole idea that 9 is complete, but it's not really complete because you didn't start again, or how 10 is an octave the way 8 is an octave. Is this still English? You followed that. It's okay? So it's really quite a complex thing, which is why the Renaissance crowd got really turned on. Because now they can put their own ideas into this. And the Jewish ideas are beautiful, and they took them and did correlations. They didn't really change them, they just correlated them. They made a correspondence. So, whereas, so Jewish God names are associated with each of these, like Adonai or Elohim. You know, there's various names of God, even though in our English translation of the Old Testament we tend to use God. And so they used Christian associations or Greek ones, because of course it's the Renaissance, so they're Greek fascinated. So Apollo lives here because he's the god of unity, and who has the most connection? 6. 6 has 8 connections to the other parts of the tree. Oh, by the way, these paths are the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet, which is 7 times 3 plus 1. So you get an octave, right? So it's 3 octaves. But Apollo has 8 paths connecting to the other Sephira, which is more than anybody else. 8 is infinity, right? 8 is always in motion. And this is, in Jewish thought as well as later Renaissance thought, this is the intellect over here. This is the emotions over here. So what do the Renaissance Greek thinking people do? They put Mercury here and Venus here. Now the whole idea that there's something stops here but something's balanced here, that the whole Hegelian third force that balances the two, so this is the restrictor. In fact, what happens is, see, it's in the pillar of severity, right? So what you get is if you have 2 things, you've got unbridled, pulsating energy that's out of control and great and wild. Now, what are you going to do with it? You got to rein it in. A wild horse is great if you can control it, because he's got tons of energy, but you got to restrict it. The power of restriction is part of the power of creation. So this is Saturn. Father Time, Saturn. Also could be Kronos. This is the whole zodiac over here, right? Nobody knows what's going on yet, and nobody knows what's up there. That's just, what's a point? What's the point?
The preceding program is copyrighted by Emory University.